Right guys, what is up and welcome back to a brand new video here today and the return of my F1 2019 career mode, more specifically my F1 2019 modded career mode. And I made a video the other day guys. If you haven't seen it, then click the link in the top right hand corner of the screen and I showcased pretty much all the mods that are going to be in this year's career mode series, so please go check that video out guys and then return to this one. And there have been some small tweaks here and there which you might see over the series, but this weekend we are here for the start of what would be season 6 of career mode, and of course in our brand new season. So first of all, the weather forecast, you can see on screen we have rain expected in the race towards the final part of the race, so that could make things quite interesting in terms of the weather forecast. In terms of upgrades this weekend, we have all the upgrades in the world and they are all for reliability purposes. Of course, as you guys know, we have now maxed out the performance upgrades last season, so all we had left to do was durability ones, so we're going to try and improve upon that over time. We still have 2,500 points to spend, so we'll spend some more in this episode. And in terms of the R&D chart, you can see at the top it's Red Bull, Ferrari, Racing Point at the very top of the table. I believe us and Red Bull are maxed out. Racing Point I think have 1 or 2 upgrades left because they are a team that maxes out the most on paper. And then over the winter, Renault and Mercedes were the best teams to improve, along with Toro Rosso as well, and Williams have actually fallen right to the very bottom. You know, compared to season 3 when I drove for them and I won the championship for them, they've dropped all the way back down to the very bottom. And in terms of driver transfers, it's worth noting Williams have a brand new lineup with Charles Leclerc I think moving to Haas and Norris being replaced, and that does mean Norris will go to Williams, and also elsewhere Magnussen goes to Renault, which means Stroll drops back into Williams. So yeah, overall a pretty interesting mix of drivers there. And also I thought I'd show you guys my car for this season. Again, you can see it in the video anyway that I linked in the top right, but here's my car for this season. We are showcasing it and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. We've got a lot of black and red going on, and we've got some Mission Winnow sponsors here and there, and also a brand new Scuderia Ferrari logo. But now we're going to move into qualifying, and no practice of course. I am doing it off recording, but I won't show you guys in the video because a lot of you in the comments, and also on Twitter were telling me that you wanted to see less cinematics in this season, so we're going to cut out practice, and normally qualifying will be slower, but I'm using this as an opportunity to explain what the format is. We're also going to cut out the interviews, and we're also going to cut out the race intro. We're going to make it a lot shorter, and I believe the podium as well, we're going to make that a lot shorter, so you're going to see a lot more direct action and a lot less cinematic and a lot less third person stuff. So yeah, overall I'm looking forward to it. You should hear, I believe, pretty much no Crofty from now on, so it should be all myself in this series. So let me know anything in the comments down below of the changes in the series as the video progresses, and give this video a chance to see exactly what you think. And there is Lance Stroll in his brand new Williams this season, and we're going to jump into qualifying. All the links guys to the mods that I haven't used or made will be linked down below in the description, so go check that out. But we now move into Saturday qualifying here at Melbourne, and we went for 3 runs in this session. My first one was actually pretty strong. I was really happy with it. Verstappen setting the pace in the Red Bull as we make our way into the final couple of corners here, and it's all about making sure the tyres don't overheat, and you try and keep the tyres for the last corner here, especially where you pick up a lot of understeer on the front left as we now run up to the line, and the lap is going to be just good enough for P2. We just miss out on P1, but a good opening lap here in qualifying as we set the pace along with Verstappen out front. We then move on to my second and best run, and again a new feature of this series, I'm going to leave my best qualifying laps uncommented, so enjoy the lap guys, and I'll get back to you once the lap is finished. And here we go then, run up to the line, and we do go P1 with a 1:15.9, and the only man in the 1:15s, 3 purple sectors, and even though it wasn't a perfect lap, it was very, very strong. And then I went for one more run, but this run wasn't great. We messed up into the chicane, as you'll see here. We tried to carry too much speed, ran a bit wide to the grass, and picked up an invalidation, so I backed off and called it a day in qualifying. As we now look at the final classified results, and you can see on screen we do end the session P1 and pick up pole position in the first race of season 6, beating Max Verstappen by nearly 0.2 of a second. Danny Kvyat in P3 in the second Ferrari ahead of George Russell in P4. Then we have Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen running at the top 10 here today. And again, as part of the new feature from you guys that you wanted to see this season, of course there's going to be no pre-race introduction, so we're going to run you through the entire grid now. So in terms of results elsewhere, we have Carlos Sainz in P11, Sebastian Vettel P12, Nico Hulkenberg 13th, and then Antonio Giovinazzi 14th for Mercedes. Then we've got Albon, Raikkonen there in the second Mercedes down in 16th, and then Norris and Stroll in the Williams cars. Actually, surprisingly, out-qualifying Toro Rosso had a pretty poor session, considering Toro Rosso are no longer the slowest team, as Ricciardo and Grosjean bring up the rear. Grosjean 4.1 off, so I'm not quite sure what happened to him in this session, but a pretty messy one for the Frenchman. Either way, that is it, and there is your qualifying session done and dusted for the first race of the season here at Australia. And we're now going to move into the race, and fingers crossed we can make it a good one here in Albert Park. Right, so here we are then on the grid for the first race of the season here at Australia, starting from first place. And fingers crossed this video doesn't go out too late. I've had a few issues with certain mods, but hopefully we should be okay now as we are on the grid ready to get racing here at Albert Park. In terms of the race strategy, we are going to start on the soft tyres, of course, which are the tyres we qualified on, and then move on to the mediums. Having said that, we have a chance of rain later on in the Grand Prix, so we'll always keep an eye on the weather and see what happens. I may pit a little bit earlier off the mediums if I feel like we may be going on to intermediate, so we'll kind of judge it on a lap by lap basis. In terms of fuel, we are running 1 extra lap, so not super heavy but also not super light, so hopefully that will do the job for us. But today the target is to win the race and try and kick off the season in the best way possible, compared to literally 21 races ago when we started the season at the back of the grid and ended up retiring from the Grand Prix. So let's try and turn it around and complete the storyline ending and try and win the race here today at Australia. Right, here we go. Season 6 is about to start as the lights are on, and they are lights out, and away we go once again for another season of career mode. Verstappen gets away well. He manages to get on the inside into turn 1. He's going to be compromised, so we get the switch back on him and we retake first place on the exit. A little bit close there. Verstappen still keeping his nose in as we make our way down towards turn number 3. Verstappen trying to look on the inside there, but no way through. We block it off nicely, and we recover after a pretty poor start. We read that overtake from Verstappen, use that as a switchback because his line was so compromised into turn 1, and we get a really good start and a good way to defend our lead, which was absolutely crucial. I was hoping for Kvyat to maybe get to second place, but that wasn't the case. We're going to turn up the engine here to hot lap mode and see if we can try and pull away a little bit from the Dutchman. We're going to do what the AI do and run the engine in a higher mode off the start on the first couple of laps and see if we can try and stretch a gap. Tyre temperatures will be tricky on these. I think we may have some issues depending on how my driving goes. If I'm trying to pull away, I'm going to be driving at full speed, so I may struggle. We have a fantastic chicane there, opening up a nice gap to Max there behind us. I'll turn the ERS down for this final sector because, of course, this part's quite slow compared to the rest of the lap. But let's see if we can try and get the hammer down here and pull away from the Dutchman. Good place at the minute as we're trying to pull away from Max. Kvyat can't quite keep up in the other Ferrari, so he's dropping back a little bit. He's definitely without, DRS range, without a doubt, but Verstappen's still there, he's hanging on. I feel like my front left is starting to overheat now. I'm going to have a look, and it is. It's so hard to run at the maximum pace without overheating your tyres with these current F1 cars, which are the fastest cars you'll ever see on this game when they're fully maxed out in terms of R&D, which is so difficult for us to really push. I'm having to save all the time. Verstappen, though, is close as DRS is now enabled. Verstappen now will be getting a good chance to try and get past. We've got to make sure that we're perfect on all of our corner exits, but at the minute we're looking good. No threat so far. Seems like both myself and Kvyat are lacking a bit of pace in this initial phase of the Grand Prix. Here comes Max with DRS. He is close enough. We're going to have to defend the inside of the turn 1. Max doesn't quite commit to a move, though. We don't get the smoothest exit out of there. We might be in trouble down towards turn 3. Let's see how close Max gets. Not close enough. So we do stay in front. Seems like we do have some good straight line speed compared to that Red Bull. Or possibly Max isn't running in a particularly high mode. as George Russell takes third place. Meanwhile, we pick up our first track extension there. Running a bit too wide out of turn 4. The minute pace is good, but Verstappen's still hanging on to DRS. Here he comes again, he's gaining, I'm going to have to defend the inside. Seems like this time he does have his engine turned up quite a bit, but we defend the inside beautifully and keep him at bay for yet another lap. At the minute, to be fair, up until that last lap, he hadn't really turned his engine up that much, and I was starting to pull away a little bit. It just feels like at the minute he's hanging on because of the DRS. Oh, I got a bit loose there. Tyres are starting to struggle a little bit for grip. Verstappen's going to have another go at us here. We're going to have to defend the inside once more. Max went for the exact same move as last lap, but this time he didn't even commit to the outside. He just kind of sat behind me. I could defend this all day. I feel quite confident. It's just frustrated I can't push anymore because of the limitations of my tyre temperatures, which is something that AI don't have, which is really frustrating.
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Okay, so there's an interesting update. Rain in 10 minutes time. Might be in for an early stop possibly. I guess we'll have to wait and find out to see what the next update is on that weather. At the minute we're doing a good job. Verstappen feels like he is picking up the pace slightly. Also Perez in third place now. He seems to have pulled away from that Russell Kvyat scrap and is pretty independent there in third place. He's actually catching us up a little bit, it looks like. So this could become a three-way scrap at the minute if my pace continues like this, which it probably will do. And we're putting out the defense from Verstappen again here on the pit straight. I'm just really struggling with front left overheating, and that's a really poor exit there. That's going to give Verstappen the legs. I think he's going to get us here. Can I hold on? No, I can't. Verstappen goes defensive into turn 1. Poor bit of traction there from me. Can we hang on even without DRS? Can we put him under pressure possibly? No, we can't. Well, Verstappen takes the lead after making a mistake due to the overheating. I understeered really wide at the final corner. Can I keep up with Max on this lap and try and get him back with DRS? Picking up my second track extension. Just really struggling with all the right-handers. My front left is just fried. I've got no response. I've only got one chance at this. So we've got to take it through the chicane. Down a gear, get nice and close. On the exit, here we go. DRS, let's try and get straight back past. We've got a lot of straight line speed in our car. Around the outside of Max, there we go. We just chop him off there and get the turn in. And we reclaim first place. Really important move there because had I not got him back, he would have started to pull away. Kvyat pits, quite an early stop from my teammate. But maybe he could make the soft tyres work, which is something I'm struggling with. I'm scheduled to pit in lap 11. The team wanted me to go to lap 12, but I don't want to stay on these another lap longer. So we will pit in lap 11. That lock-up's going to kill me. That little lock-up is going to ruin everything. Here comes Max. He's got his engine turned up. He's really flying on this lap. We are going to defend the inside into the chicane, but we're not out of trouble just yet. I've got a very poor exit out of here. And I've taken a very compromised line. Here comes Max again. We're going to now defend the inside into this next right-hander. But he's all over my gearbox at the minute. This is another bar long shot. This is the corner where I really lose time. I brake so much earlier than the AI do, but again, because of the ultimate brake upgrade, I have to brake really early. There's nothing I can do about it. Here comes Max. We're going to defend the inside early. See if we can get him out of the slipstream nice and early. There we go, nicely done. Good defensive driving, getting Max out of the slipstream nice and early. And then he dropped out. We're going to box this lap for the mediums and get off these ASAP. Alright, we're going to pit this lap. Just easing our way through the final part of the lap. Now we've got the engine turned down. That was a huge lock-up. That would have really put me in trouble for the final corner. Luckily for us, we don't have to worry about that, even though I'm still understeering into the pit entry. Slow it all down to 60, and there we go. It's a very slow pit lane. Perez pits in as well, so we may get held up here. Let's see what happens. Yep, got held up a little bit. Luckily, Verstappen did as well, so not too shabby, but not ideal. Just means Verstappen's right on my gearbox on the restart. Let's see if we can find a bit of clear space on track. Hopefully behind this Williams.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. Receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
Redraw on the track, up to speed. There we go. Nicely done. And we're going to get a little bit of a gap to Verstappen, so hopefully we'll clear him. But we've got Norris up next on the road in the Williams. in his new team. Let's see if we can try and get on the back of him and maybe put him in between myself and Max to create some distance. But now I've got these tyres I can push. There is still an outside threat we could overheat these, but these would be a lot better than the softs. I'm also on my final warning for track limit, so I've got to be careful for the rest of the race. Okay, we're on the back of Lando here. Got my engine turned down because we're going to be stuck behind him for a couple of corners. It's a good chance to save a little bit of fuel in the RS before we launch our full attack on him. Through here, easy does it. Nice and tidy through the final corner. There we go, DRS. Let's turn the engine up, try and get him on this straight. Here we go, lots of speed. We're going to go to the outside. Around the outside of Norris, and it's a fantastic overtake. Verstappen gets held up. That's exactly what we wanted. Let's try and pull away and push this lap.
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Okay, so we'll see how that progresses. It's getting a little bit dark now, so the clouds are starting to form. I'm really pushing hard at the minute. Good pace. Verstappen is 1.2 behind, so it's looking good. Let's see if we can try and keep it up through here and clear him at the final corner. It's looking like a personal best. Will it be a purple lap? Yes, it is. And Verstappen's out of DRS. He's 1.5 behind, so there we go. The move on Norris was the perfect one, and it's given us the gap we need. Now we've got to try and manage it. This is it. Very good couple of laps from me. We're pulling away from Max quite nicely. He's now well out of DRS range, about 2 seconds. A couple of purple sectors from me. And there you go, there's the gap. 2.1, almost 2.2. Pace is good. This is perfect. Now we've got to do is wait for the rain, but I'm much happier on these tyres because we're not overheating and we can push a lot more. Pace is still good. Gap is staying around that 2-second mark with Verstappen at the minute. And I'm able to actually turn the engine down a little bit and save a bit of ERS and fuel if I need to. So it's looking good. Consistency is good. We're keeping it also within track limits. Gap now up to 2.4, so it's slowly progressing. Bit by bit. And the rain's getting closer and closer. It's getting darker and darker. So keeping one eye on the sky now at this point and just trying to make sure things stay as they are and keep the consistency up.
We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes.
Okay, so the rain will arrive a little bit earlier than scheduled as well. So I'm going to say maybe even by the end of the lap it could be here. If not, then definitely next lap. Oh, here we go. The rain's here already. We just had a little, a couple of lag spikes, and the droplets are starting to come down already. So the rain already coming down here at Albert Park. So we're going to use up the rest of our ERS and try and push hard here. I'm going to pit, I think.
Check your MFD for a new strategy.
Oh my god, perfect timing. That's the cue. It's worked out beautifully. I was going to pit. I just felt like in the final sector we lost a bit of grip. Inters have already been selected. I selected them ages ago. So here we go. Hopefully we don't get held up by the Red Bull of Verstappen. Damn it. Got held up there. We lost time. We've lost part of our advantage, which is not good at all. We've lost almost all of it. Kvyat pits behind us, but we've lost all of our 3-second advantages of Verstappen, which is not good at all.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Easy does it on the exit as we lock up both fronts. Let's see if we can try and find pace on these. DRS now disabled, which is better for us. It means Verstappen won't be as quick on the straights. But let's see if we can try and find some rhythm. The AI tend to be better in this part of the phase of the intermediates when the track's on the drier side. So I've got to try and survive for now. Verstappen right my gearbox again. Difference is this time he has no DRS, which is good, and we get a good exit out the final corner. I'm already frying my front left. This is...
Burned up our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. I just can't stop frying my tyres with these cars. They're so fast. But the AI don't have this problem. Okay, now the rain's starting to come down a little bit more. The spray's starting to kick up. These conditions now start to suit me a little bit more because the track gets cooler. It gets more wet, which is better for the tyres in terms of keeping the temperature. And I'm now more in the groove when it comes to the inters. We're already starting to pull away from Max again. This is better for me. I've also tweaked my brake bias, moved it to 54, which is something I never do, but I can't seem to stop locking up. Again, that's a problem with the ultimate brake upgrade on the Ferrari and probably all cars as well on this game, which I wish I'd never done. I'm starting to pull away from Max. These conditions now are really starting to help me out. Gap through sector 1 was 1 second exactly. I'm able to get the traction down quite nicely. The temperatures are now under control, all the way down to 84 on the front left, so much better for us. The more rain, the better. But we're starting to make a difference and pull away from Max. Gap up to 1.2. This is it now. Ball's in my court. Oh, yellow flag in the distance. Looks like that's Carlos Sainz in the McLaren. So McLaren picking up where they left off last season in terms of the reliability issues. So that's the first retirement of the season so far, down to 19 runners. There we go, then we're behind the lap car. We've got this Toro Rosso to get through. He's had blue flags for a little while now, but he's not moving out of the way. Hopefully he doesn't do it in a stupid location. And just moves to one side gracefully. It's the last lap of the race. I don't need some last lap drama. And there we go. Verstappen, I think, actually got held up a little bit there. So that's going to take the pressure off completely. As that will now allow me to just cruise to the finish, as Verstappen lost a bit of time there behind that Toro Rosso. That does me beautifully. Here we go then, through the final few corners. And it's been a great start to the season and a fantastic race weekend. We controlled the race in all those difficult moments, especially on the soft tyre, which was quite tricky with the overheating problems, and especially the first part of the engines. But we come through to win the opening race here in Melbourne, Australia, and pick up maximum points. Grazie ragazzi.
Nice work, that's P1. Race win. Well done.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Right, so looking at the final race results then for the Australian Grand Prix, and we pick up maximum points, 26 to be exact, ahead of Max Verstappen and Perez to bring home the win, and a really good day at the office for us as a team here today. Danny Kvyat only P5 in the end, so a disappointing race for the second Ferrari car, and Perez doing a good job there to get in third place for Racing Point. Lewis Hamilton P6, and then we've got Sebastian Vettel P7 in the first of the Alfa Romeos, Giovinazzi 8th, Bottas 9th, and Hulkenberg in P10. Missing out on the points, we have Kimi Räikkönen, Alex Albon, Lando Norris, Kevin Magnussen, Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly down in P16 in the Alfa Romeo, and then we've got Stroll, Ricciardo, Grosjean with Carlos Sainz, the only retirement of the Grand Prix here today. In terms of the standings, of course, after the race, it does mean we are in the lead in the Drivers' Championship. But in terms of the Constructors, we are also leading 6 points clear of Red Bull and 13 points clear of Racing Point. So a good start for us in both championships and a great way to kick off the season. But guys, that is going to be it for the race here today. I'm a little bit pressed for time, so I'm going to do the upgrades off camera. But it's pretty much just upgrading durability. So I'll show you guys in the next episode exactly what I got. But guys, that is going to be it for this video here today. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like and subscribe if you are new for daily Formula 1 content. And also check out these two videos on your screen if you have missed them. Find the channel notifications, guys, to not miss any future content from me. And I'll see you on my next one very soon for round 2 at Bahrain. But until then, it's goodbye from me.